What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Talking Halos. I'm your host today, Jared Timms, and I'm joined alongside my co-host, my partner in crime, Nate Green. We are also joined alongside writer for the Sporting Tribune, Thomas Murray. Thomas, how you doing?
Hey guys, I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Day three of the winter meetings, man. It has been, I mean, it's been a lot. It has been crazy. Yeah, it's been a crazy couple of days for sure. Nate, how you doing?
Doing well. Another fun day. A lot of news today, so it's fun.
That's good. Yeah, no, I feel like this winter meetings has just been a lot more news than it has been in the past. I feel like there's just been a lot more rumors and a lot more action too, this winter meetings. I could totally be wrong. And I'm sure people are gonna be all weird about it, but it just feels like there's just been a lot more. It feels like the Angels, especially after last year, it feels like the Angels have just been in on a lot more players. And that's what we're here to talk about. But first, before we get rolling, Thomas, tell everybody where they can find you on social media, on with the Sporting Tribune, all that fun stuff. I don't know, Snapchat, Instagram. I'm just kidding. Don't tell them more Snapchat or OnlyFans or anything like that. Because I mean, your boss Taylor may or may not he might have OnlyFans, but when he listens to this, he's gonna hate me for it.
Well, I mean, I don't know anything about Taylor and OnlyFans, but if he does, I hope he's doing great on it.
He's gonna hate me.
Yeah, guys. Hey, Thomas from the Sporting Tribune. It's great to be here. You can find me on Twitter at Thomas_L_Murray. And also my bylines are all over the Sporting Tribune where I provide primarily Angels coverage. And then I've also dabbled into some UCLA football and Anaheim Ducks over the last year.
Yep, absolutely. Go follow Thomas, follow all his work. He's doing a fantastic job with the Tribune. Everybody at the Tribune is doing a fantastic job, but make sure you go follow Thomas if you do not already. Especially as the Angels season rolls around, because this is going to be one of those guys that's going to be covering the team on a daily, weekly basis. So I'm super excited to have him on the show. Again, go follow him. I had one other thing I wanted to say here on this note. Oh yeah, trying to watch the Ducks game right now. It's a good thing you're not covering the Ducks right now because this is a rough game. I'm gonna be honest there with you. It's not a fun one here tonight, but yeah. Before we get rolling here with this really fun show, guys, go ahead and follow us on all our social medias: X, Instagram, Facebook. You can follow us on all our all our social medias. Myself at Jared_Tim's, Nate at Nate Green 34. I'd feel remiss if I didn't say this for Maria. Who's a big fan of the show. Yes, we will get on Blue Sky a little more for you as well. So Blue Sky as well. You can follow us there. Give us 1 second here to pay the bills. All right, guys, let's get this rolling here. A lot of fun news. Day three of the winter meetings. We're gonna recap this here a little bit. First and foremost, I did want to throw a little rapid fire at Thomas here. I almost totally forgot about that. So I'm just ready to talk about the winter meetings, but I want to do rapid fire first with Thomas. So
Yeah.
Thomas, favorite baseball team growing up?
Favorite baseball team? Well, yeah, I grew up in Southern California, and Orange County specifically. So I grew up an Angels fan. So it's pretty cool to kind of get to cover the team that I grew up loving as a kid and like so many fond memories of just going to the games with like my family and stuff. And now it's like, oh, dang, I'm actually doing it now.
I remember as a kid, and I think Nate probably remembers looking behind home plate and seeing all the writers up there, and it was like, man, those guys are pretty cool. And now, I know they moved the press box, but it's cool to see everybody and to be like,
Hmm.
oh, you know that guy, you know that guy. So yeah, I mean that's awesome. Favorite player growing up.
Favorite player? You know what? Like I said, growing up as an Angels fan, it's not the obvious, which would probably be Vladdy. It's actually Sean Figgins. I really just loved watching him as a kid because he was just Mr. Utility and he could do it all. And it was like, okay, he's going to get a clutch RBI. He's going to go steal some bags, make it highlight defensive play. It was just awesome.
I love Sean Figgins. Did you play any sports growing up?
Yeah, I was a football player, and then just to kind of get a break from football during like the spring season in high school, I was also a volleyball player.
There you go. Where'd you go to school, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, I went to John F. Kennedy High School in La
Hmm.
Palma, California, and
Yep.
I grew up in Buena Park.
Awesome. There we go. There we go. Love it. One move you want to see the Angels make this offseason?
One move, I really just think just getting another starting pitcher. Um, doesn't really need to be the most appealing name just because of, the given the shape of the roster and the direction they're headed. But I think just building depth in that rotation and really providing something where, that's going to be a lot more competitive going into the next season, and just an arm too that'll just kind of stay healthy.
Man, you have a very good mentor because that was a very writer answer, and I absolutely loved it, man. Who do you want to see the Angels take with the second pick?
Um, I mean, yeah, if you can't get Ethan, go for Jace. I mean, 6'6" kid, has 50 home runs in his career in college. Is probably going to have another very productive year. Can play the outfield really well. It's going to give them some power. And the move that the Angels have been doing over the years, just getting guys that are MLB ready from college. And I think that's kind of what you're going to get out of him. You whether or not he plays this season, theoretically they draft him, but he'll probably play the following year on the roster.
Love it, love it. You're making a lot of friends, a lot of fans here on the show as well. With that answer there. So, all right, appreciate you doing a little rapid fire with us.
Yeah, of course.
Let's get on to some Angels news here. I mean, I was already rip roaring ready to go here, but Angels news, they seem to be in on some infielders, in particular, Gleyber Torres. Nate, what are your thoughts on Gleyber Torres?
Uh, Too much money for a very bad defender.
How much do you think he's getting paid?
15.
And that's too much.
Yes, for a guy who's going to be a very bad defender and an up and down hitter. Um, it, it's just you have three guys in the rotation right now that are going to be pitch to contact guys. You need a defense around them. Right now, we already mentioned it a couple shows ago. They were 26 in defense last year. He does not make the defense better, and haven't really shown a hasn't really shown a willingness to move off his position either, which is a little bit frightening to me. It's like the Yankees, who are the standard organization, you're going to the World Series with them. They say, "Hey, would you be willing to move to third?" He says, "No, I'm a second baseman." It's like, dude, come on, like be part of the team and move to third base if it helps us win. Like, I don't know. So there's just a lot of red flags with that. And I mean, he doesn't play defense. He'll be a fine hitter, but he goes through streaks where he'll be really good and really bad. So I would be out on Gleyber Torres.
Yeah, a little background here behind Glaber. Fangraphs has him going to be a 3-win player in 2025 in his age 28 season. So you're probably not wrong. He's probably going to get paid, a good chunk, and it wouldn't surprise me if it was in that like $20 million range either. As a 28-year-old who can hit, and I think you're discrediting the defense a little bit. I'm not going to say it's good, but if I were to say it's an average defender at second base, I'm not that far off. Don't I don't
Not that far
necessarily.
off from average would still be below average, which would still be bad.
Okay. I think he's an average defender who's a good hitter. And that's kind of what you need with this Angels lineup. Thomas, I'll kind of pass.
Negative 5.9 UZR, negative 11 defensive run save, negative 7 outs above average. Like, I just don't know how that gets you average or even above average. Like, those are bad numbers.
I'd say he's an average defender there at second base. Thomas, I'm going to pass it over to you before we let Nate
Yeah.
control this show. What do you think about Gleyber Torres joining this Angels team, man?
I don't hate the move if it's the right contract, if it's the right amount of years. I mean, just kind of how the market's been going, it might dictate that he might get paid a little bit more than he's actually worth. I think the one thing that just stands out to me though is at least he's gonna be showing up almost every day, and you know, he'll be in the hot corner and he's going to be playing. And honestly, at this point, I think just of how this team's been impacted by injuries over the years, you just need guys that can just show up every day and play.
Yeah, you bring up a really good point here. I mean, the most games that he's missed. I mean, 2021 he played in 127 games. Other than that, 2022 he played in 140, so maybe one IL stint. 2023 he played in 158 games, so he missed 3 games. Last year he played in 154 games. So yeah, it's that's definitely something that the Angels need, and something that I think Perry's kind of prioritized with this Angels team, this Angels lineup is trying to get guys who are there every day. And we saw it with the pitching staff too. Like you look at a guy like Tyler Anderson or Yusei Kikuchi, guys that have pitched consistently in their career. And I mean, you've been an Angels fan for a while. You probably remember those days where the Angels couldn't even keep a healthy rotation out there for a long time. And I know Tyler Anderson's not everybody's favorite. I know Yusei Kikuchi's not an absolute superstar, but you need guys that are going to pitch make 32 starts during the season. Those guys are hard to find, and Angels kind of do have two of those. Or you need some players that play in 150 games a year. And Nate, I know those guys aren't needle movers, but Gleyber might be that needle mover type of guy. And I think the Angels are just trying to get better anywhere they can. Whether it's, I know Christian Moore's right around the corner, but I mean, Gleyber makes this team better. Whether it is at second base, whether he is willing to move to third base. We weren't inside the Yankees clubhouse. We don't know really what was going on there. And you don't know the difference between Aaron Boone and Ron Washington, and defensively and things like that. So yeah, I'm intrigued with a Gleyber Torres signing. And I just think the Angels need to find a way to make themselves better. And I think Gleyber makes this team in the not rotation, but the lineup a lot better. So Nate, I'll let you go ahead. You got anything else here, man? Are you good? You're
Yeah, that's
good?
fine. Yeah, that's fine.
All
We're
right.
good.
All right. I like it. I like it. You're in kind of a positive move here. So we're gonna turn a corner here, and I have a weird feeling that you might actually like this one too. We talked about it earlier this offseason. A third baseman, big contract, Nolan Arenado. It just continues to be brought upon the Angels that there's a chance that they trade for him, because now he's all of a sudden on a list that he is willing to approve a trade to the Angels. I know that the Angels have Anthony Rendon at third base right now, but again, somebody who makes this team better is Nolan Arenado. And if the right trade comes along, I'm okay with it. Thomas, what are your thoughts on maybe a Nolan Arenado trade?
Yeah, again, just right price. The contract is really finicky, just because, he's so 30 plus mil. And then there's a lot of deferred money that's going to be, handled in this. And then, what are can you get the Cardinals to take on some of that deferred money later on? What are they asking for? If they're asking for a mid-level prospect, I think maybe you go ahead and do that then, just because, at least again, consistency. Arenado still one of the best defenders at third base. I know a lot of people are saying he's had a down year with the bat, but I mean, he still hit, 272 last season, which isn't bad if you look at what this Angels lineup was doing last season. Um, I like it though, local SoCal kid. Also, the one thing that I've kind of noticed when listening to Ron Washington speak throughout the season is just helping get big leaguers in the clubhouse and, showing, the young kids, the young core and everything, what it means to be a big leaguer, how to be a baseball player, just learning experiences, and guys like that are just going to help mentor the young crop.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to bring up something that you mentioned with Gleyber Torres and being on the field. Last time he played under 140 games was 2014 when he played 111 games. So and not including 2020, obviously, but that's again something that can't be understated. I mean, Nolan Arenado, especially with Anthony Rendon, who hasn't been on the field for more than 50 games or more than 60 games in his tenure with the Angels, having Nolan Arenado, hopefully, the Angels curse doesn't come upon Nolan Arenado if the Angels do end up trading for him. But somebody that can be on the field, again, mentor the young guys there. Platinum Glover at third base, still a contributor in a lineup. Yeah, I'm all for it. I'm kind of baffled at Nolan Arenado saying that he would approve a trade to the Angels, because it sounds like he wants to go to a winner. And the Angels might not be there quite yet. I know they might be there
Yeah.
2026, 2027, but 2025 might be a little bit of a stretch. Nate, we're bringing Arenado back up again. I know we talked about off the record some trade talk in that area that we might have been talking about. Do you want to bring up some trade talk, or what are your thoughts on bringing Arenado?
Yeah, and I think Arenado's like, well, the five teams that I would legitimately go to have a third baseman, and the one team that I would go to would go back home, would be the sixth destination. So it's like, I guess I'll go to the Angels. I don't know if he necessarily sees this team as a winner, but I do think he makes this team better. I just brought it up with Gleyber Torres. Gleyber Torres is a terrible defender. Nolan Arenado is an elite defender. You got a lot of pitch to contact guys. You got a lot of guys that throw very slow that are actually going to benefit from a guy at the hot corner, because most of the balls are going to be pulled. Arenado's going to make the plays. I think it actually could make the whole defense better, because Arenado can go get stuff that maybe Neto doesn't have to go get. And in turn, Neto can play up the middle a little bit more. Like it just makes the whole defense a lot better, I think. So I'm all for Arenado. Of course, the price has to matter. Like, Are they willing to take a bad contract in return? Is it a Stevenson? Is it a Tyler Anderson? Are what prospect are they looking for? Are they looking for like a Nelson Rada, where it's like, okay, I don't know if I'm willing to give up Nelson Rada and take on the contract. Um, or are they asking for like an Errol Vera, Adrian Paciencia, like multiple of those type of guys, Victor Medeiros? Um, if it's in that range, of course, like let's do this, get it done. If it's, hey, you guys are paying the whole contract and we want Rado or we want Aldegary or we want someone bigger and we're paying the whole contract, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But the one thing that the Angels have in this is they do have a little bit of leverage. Arenado has made it known that he only wants to go to these 6 teams, and the Cardinals have made it known that they would like to put Nolan Arenado on another team this upcoming season. So, I mean, there's no reason that the Angels have to go out and do this. This is just like a thing that could make them better. So I'm all for it if the price is right.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't want to be the dead horse talking about Nolan Arenado like week in and week out, but the more that he's in the news, the more, it makes sense to kind of talk about him. And yeah, I mean, he makes a lot of sense in Anaheim. He really does. It would be a lot of fun. The Angels haven't had a legitimate third baseman. I mean, I know they signed Anthony Rendon for a long time, but they haven't had a legitimate third baseman since probably your favorite player, Sean Figgins. I mean, Alberto Caspo, Troy Glaus. Like it's been quite a while since
Yeah.
they've had a very good third baseman there. So, and yeah, that's a probably a future Hall of Famer in Nolan Arenado too. So, yeah, I'm all for it if the price is right. Last order of business here, Angels rotation wise. Perry came out and talked to the press on Monday about some rotational stuff. He mentioned Sam Bachman and Chase Silseth as guys that are going to be stretched out as starters. They also could be relievers down the road, but want to get your guys' thought on some Sam Bachman, a little bit of Chase Silseth. Thomas, I'll kind of start with you, man. What do you got?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you've seen it with Silseth. You've seen him in the rotation and, you've seen him be a pretty consistent pitcher. It's just the one thing with both at Bachman and Silseth, whereas we really haven't seen Bachman too much as a starter, if not, I think, at all. Can they stay healthy enough to do it? The one thing that I'm saying for this Angels team is I just want them to have a team that's really going to stay on the field once we get to August, once we get to September, because pretty much, it's just July rolls around, injuries start to pile up, and then, you have the bees on the field at that point. Um, yeah, I mean, I think they both have some pretty good stuff on the mound, but it's just a matter of can they stay healthy, and then, you know, if they don't stay healthy, then at that point, do you consider them for the long haul, just turning them into a reliever?
Yeah, I mean, it'd make the Angels bullpen very, very fun. I'll say that. I mean, Joyce, Chris Cortez is right around the
Mhm.
corner. Bachman, Silseth, like that's a bullpen that I would say you can more than likely rely on, just because we've seen Bachman at the major league level be a very, very good reliever, and we've seen Chase Silseth, glimpses of him be a very good starter, but he's got very good stuff and could be probably a good multi-inning reliever there for the Angels, or somebody that you can rely on, in the sixth, seventh inning. Same thing with Bachman. So yeah, I'm intrigued. I want them both to stay healthy though. Like that's the main goal. You said it already. They need to stay healthy, 100% to contribute to this team, obviously, but also to develop. I mean, the Angels haven't done a great job of development, obviously, but I mean, it doesn't help when you're not healthy. You can't develop, even if you are pitching at the major league level, if you're not healthy. So yeah, I want to see, Sam Bachman get that velo back up to, 96, 97, see if the changeup's working again, see if that nasty slider is working, and the same thing with Silseth, and then start working on that command with Silseth. So Nate, thoughts on these two starting pitching relievers?
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense to stretch them both out just to see where they're at. I think at the end of spring training, though, you kind of make a decision. You pick one to put in the minors in the rotation. You pick one to put in the big leagues in the bullpen. I think you have accumulated enough depth with guys that have either pitched in the big leagues or have gotten a cup of coffee, whatever it is, or a potential top pitching prospect in the minor leagues. That one of these guys moving to the pen would help this bullpen out a lot. and not having to spend on the bullpen. The Angels have spent a lot of money on the bullpen in the last couple of years. It has worked out with some trades for them, but it, we don't necessarily need to spend on the bullpen when you have guys like this. So I think one of these guys makes the rotation AAA because I don't see either of them making the big league rotation. And then the other one just making the big league bullpen because the Angels still need bullpen help. They're still probably 2 or 3 bullpen arms away from fielding a legitimate bullpen going into this next year.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, there's still a lot of holes for sure. But the Angels do have a lot of young, fun pieces. So, final thoughts before we let everybody go. Nate, go ahead. Who are you DFAing, Nate?
Uh, I I think there was good news today, and I don't want to. I know we'll talk about the Rule 5 draft tomorrow, but they took a left-handed pitcher in the Rule 5 draft, which means we're that much closer to Jose Suarez getting DFA'd again.
Jesus. We were so close. I mean, you talked about having a good day today and all that fun stuff, and then now
you
we're
just had to egg me on though. Like you just had to all right, let's piss him off. Who we DFAing? Well, I mean, there's only one guy who needs to not be on this 40-man roster.
You know how I am. I like to stir the pot. So,
Of course.
Thomas, don't follow after the things that I do, please. If you want a good professional career, it's not something that you want to do. But give us some final thoughts here, man. What are your thoughts here on this Angels off season? I mean, give us something.
Yeah, yeah. You know what? Off season's been honestly pretty good. I've been enjoying the moves that they've been making. Like I talked earlier, just getting big leaguers. Okay, you get a guy like Soler, you get a guy like Kikuchi in there. You're showing the younger guys how to be big league players and, development and building a strong supporting cast around this team. And I think they're on their way. If they pull off the Arenado trade, I think that's the biggest move that they'll make this whole offseason. I don't really think they'll do anything too major though. I don't know if they're going to actually be able to get somebody like a Walker Buehler. It just apparently they were a dark horse for Max Fried, but I don't know how much to buy into that. But no, I mean, yeah, I think the offseason's been doing pretty good. I think they've built a pretty decent team so far, and I'm interested in how, the development of these young guys are going to be next year.
Yeah, absolutely. It's fun to talk about the young guys. I mean, again, you were an Angels fan. Angels fans have gone through a lot, on the development side of stuff and rookies and things like that. There wasn't a farm system for a long time. There really wasn't. So, finally, before we let everybody go, Thomas, last time, tell everybody where they can find you on social media, and where they can find your work.
Yeah, find my work on the Sporting Tribune. Gonna be doing a lot of Angels content this spring, summer. Also follow me on Twitter at Thomas_L_Murray. I'll be there. And, if you guys ever want to ask me a question, slide in my DMs, engage in content, I'll be more than welcome be more than welcome to talk to you guys.
Absolutely. Thomas, like myself, is on social media way too much. I see him updating Duck scores, UCLA scores, recruiting, all that fun stuff on a daily basis. He's doing a fantastic job with the Sporting Tribune. So don't forget to go give him a follow. And we'll definitely get him on the show again if he wants to. He may not like us very much, but no, we'll definitely get Thomas back on the show again. It was an absolute blast talking with you. Again, guys, go ahead, follow us on all our social medias. Go ahead, if you're watching us here on YouTube, go ahead, hit the subscribe button. You can follow myself on X at Jared_Tim's, Nate at NateGreen34. Guys, thank you so much for watching and listening. Have a great rest of your day.